Okay, welcome, and welcome. Good to see you all. Happy Monday. Hope you guys all had a good weekend, and a good, just a good old time overall. Is audio coming through? We good on audio and video for everybody? I had some major internet issues the last part of last week, and I hope it's all cleared up, and I think it has. Good. Okay, good to see you guys. Okay, so there are a couple of things to talk about. First off, just I want to welcome everybody. This is Day Traders FX. I'm Jared Johnson. Very nice to see you all. If anybody is having any volume issues or any audio issues, it sounds like it's coming through pretty well for most people. So just make sure to turn your volume up on your computer. Mine's about as loud as it'll go, my microphone and everything, so that should help it come through a little bit better for everyone. Mel, I'm not in a car today. Last Monday I was definitely in a car on the side of a road, and it seemed like it worked pretty well actually, so that was good. No, just in the office, just another day in old paradise here. So we are here, and there is lots of good stuff to talk about. And yes, yeah, Mel, yep, we got a new nephew from last Monday, so that was exciting. My brother had a kid who is 2 months younger than my most recent boy, and he named him Harvard. So I don't know if we're gonna call him like Little Harvey or something, but little Mr. Harvard. So names are getting just crazy. They're just getting crazy. Adrian, yes, I would love to do it live from the surfboard. Have a board meeting. I love it. I love it. Oh, that's great. That is great. Yeah. Well, apparently the doctor asked me if we wanted to name him Yale, but you know, he went with Harvard. So, yeah. Good little name. Good little name. So, okay, guys, there's lots to talk about. So, once again, welcome to everybody. Jared Johnson here. Lovely to have you all on this wonderful Monday. There is so much to cover. We have seen some Swiss franc madness happen. That was totally just nuts, but I think it's going to create a fantastic trading opportunity for us. And likewise, we have seen a little bit of news from one of our most favorite brokers. We're going to talk about all that. But just a reminder to everybody, you can go to my website at daytradersfx.com. You can get a free trial to our trade group. We had some great trades last week and some good trades the week before and week before. So if you want to get in on some of those trades, I'm obviously going to talk about a couple of setups that I think are interesting, but they're going to be more kind of trade ideas that you can watch and you can use your own rules for entry. If you want to follow the trades exactly how we do them and take the exact trades that we take, you can get a free trial to the trade group at daytradersfx.com and go from there. So we'd love to have you, and it's a good time to get a free trial. By the way, at the beginning of the week, you can kind of ride the whole week out with us and see how it's all going there. Okay, so a couple of things to talk about. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of FinFX, and I have loved FinFX for many years. They've been a really excellent broker for me. I've been with them since 2011, and they have just announced that they can no longer service American clients. Now, definitely, you know, half or less in this group are Americans, so not everybody is affected by this news, but Americans definitely are affected by the FinFX news. They finally have caved to more U.S. tightening and regulations and so on. So FinFX can no longer take U.S. clients. Current U.S. clients have to be moved out somewhere else. And one thing that I just refuse to that I refuse to submit to is all of the crazy U.S. regulations, because it's so ridiculous for traders. There is a broker in the U.S. that has some options for us, but there's still a few things that need to be looked at there. Yes, yeah, Mel, and that's true. That's true. Yeah, it is legal to have an account with a foreign broker, but what's happening is more and more brokers are, you know, it's kind of this cross relationship. You know, we say with, you know, the European Union and the UK and Japan and Australia and so on, we'll respect your laws, you respect ours. You know, we'll kind of take it like that. So a lot of brokers aren't accepting U.S. clients, and so it's kind of putting a pinch leash on some of us there. And there's not too many U.S. options that will allow us to do the kind of things we like to do. First of all, that FIFO is just a disaster, and so. And so, you know, that's something that kind of has to be dealt with. I don't care about the leverage. I think the 50-to-1 leverage that has been dropped down in the U.S. is totally fine. That's great. We're pretty conservative traders, so that's not a problem. But hedging and FIFO are kind of the two big things that I don't negotiate with, and so that's why I haven't put up with that. Yes, and Mel, that is our only option in the U.S. is Citibank. Now, does Citi? I talked to them a couple days ago, Mel. Maybe you can enlighten me here. Does Citi enforce FIFO? Because I thought they said they did not. I believe you have an account with them. And so do they? I thought they said they allowed hedging and FIFO was not enforced because they're a bank as opposed to a broker. But I've never had an account with Citi, so I can't verify that. And I know you've got an account, so okay, good. So they're a good option. The one deal, excuse me, with Citi is that they're definitely not for everybody because they have a $10,000 account minimum, which is fine for many of us, but not fine for all of us. And so that's where I'm looking at a couple of options. One other option, so those of you that are Citi, they have some decent spreads, but some of their spreads are bad. Some of them are pretty bad. And I have noticed that. I've been looking at some of their spreads, and I've been looking at a lot of different spreads, and you know, that's definitely a factor to take into account. And you know, and that is true. You know, you'll see that sometimes spreads are higher with some brokers than other times, low liquidity and so on. So I'm looking at a couple of options here. I absolutely do not like FXCM under any circumstances, because they are just not my. I've had accounts with FXCM over and over and over again, and I just am tired of their bad performance. So I've kind of just stayed away from FXCM for the last little while. I have a live account with them currently, and I'm watching things, and I just have had bad experience after bad experience with FXCM. So it's a pretty good possibility that I would never go back to them. So I'm looking at options with Citi, but again, that's for larger trade accounts. Now, those of you Americans that are with FinFX, and again, we love FinFX, great spreads, great performance, great everything. One thing that they are suggesting is that American clients go to this TalonX, right? You guys have probably seen in the email or heard about TalonX. And I've been getting a lot of questions about that. What are they? Who are they? You know, what's their situation? So I spoke with FinFX. I've been with them for over 4 years, 4.5 years or so with FinFX. And when I got the email and they said TalonX, I said, well, who are they? And I was talking to, I've spoken with the CEO a bit, old Yanni Herpy. That's just not a very excellent name to have, but great guy, and they're all really great over at FinFX. They've just been super awesome. And I spoke to them. I said, "Who is TalonX? What's the deal with these guys? Why are you trying to tell me to go over to them? They're registered in a Caribbean island in St. Vincent and the Grenadines." I said, "What's the deal?" So here's what is up with TalonX. And John, regarding MB Trading, I have an account with him as well. MB Trading is a great broker. Hedging is also an issue, and FIFO is an issue for us American clients. And their fills are horrible because they're pure straight through to the real market, and you get tons of slippage, which doesn't really work that great for me. Okay, so back to TalonX. It turns out that the founder of TalonX is an old rep of mine. He was one of the co-founders of FinFX, and he was actually my institutional sales rep for my managed accounts and for my introducing broker and all those details. His name's Terry Salo. And he and we had a pretty good relationship. We talked quite a bit, and I didn't know that he was actually the founder of TalonX. So in about 2012, I wondered why he disappeared as my personal representative over there. So he took off with another person from FinFX and started TalonX. And I talked to FinFX and asked them if if things were ended on good terms and so on. And they said yes, totally, everything was great. And I've spoken with both of them quite a bit now, TalonX and FinFX, and they just kind of left to start something that focused a little bit more on money managers and so on. They take retail clients and everything, but they really wanted to push the money manager managed account side of things more. FinFX is just a good retail broker and so on, and these guys are really focusing more with FinFX, for example. If you have an introducing broker like myself and a money manager's account, there's kind of limited back office stuff that I can do and that I can see. I mean, it's enough to make things work okay, but it's a little bit limited. TalonX is really kind of focused more on that side of things. So they offer regular accounts for regular people and all that, but they have a lot more in the way of money manager stuff. So anyways, I know the founder. He's a great guy, and the best part is they use all the exact. They're on the same platform and the same liquidity provider and the same everything as FinFX. They basically just share everything, and they're on good cahoots with each other. They share everything, and they are run out of the same office. So TalonX, even though TalonX is registered in the Caribbean to avoid the regulations and so on, and they do have some they're on their website. It says they're registered in Estonia as well, and they have an office in Estonia. But I talked to them and to FinFX about TalonX, and they just run their office out of Helsinki, Finland, along with FinFX, and they all just are together doing the same thing. I don't hardly know the difference between the two of them, but the difference is that they can still take some American clients. So I'll be trying out TalonX. I'll be going over there for a while. I've spoken with them. It sounds pretty good. They're MT4 platforms. It'll be the exact same experience as FinFX. Good fills, good spreads, same liquidity provider. FinFX just has great spreads and great fills. They're just really good with that, and TalonX will have the same thing. And so I'll be moving over there with several of my accounts and getting everything going. So they look good. Everything seems pretty well put together. FinFX vouches for them, says they're a great great broker platform. Everything looks good. And of course, you can never guarantee anything with any broker ever, and anybody that does is ridiculous. But they are set up, they're registered, they're everything's legally put up and put together, and they're not set up in Russia. A bunch of there's been a bunch of questions about, are they a Russian broker and so on? Which, if they were, whatever. But they're not. They're just they're as Finnish as anybody else is FinFX. And so and again, I've been with FinFX for 4+ years and had a great experience. So, anyways. And Bo, regarding that, the need to the switchover, that is going to. I will have some more answers on that. I'll be sending out an email tomorrow, and I'll have more answers on if they can just transfer that directly over. They're going to transfer some of my accounts directly over, my money manager accounts, and I think they'll be able to do the same with some of the retail accounts as well. So it should be pretty painless and work out pretty well. So it's a good solution for now. I've got a couple other things in the works that I'll let you guys know about. But for the moment, I think I'll be moving over to TalonX and using their services for at least the next while. And I think they'll be a great broker for us. We'll get the same performance, same everything. We don't have to worry about crazy spreads on certain pairs and all of that stuff. So that's the scoop. Is that any questions about that, guys? Let's see here. Good, Everett. Good to know. Okay, demo accounts TalonX for almost 2 years, 1 live account, run EAs on demos. I think they're good. Good to hear. Hedges don't transfer well. So here's another thing. Because I've been with FinFX for so long, they pretty much will do anything I need them to do that's legal. And they are actually transferring my accounts with live open positions directly over. Because remember, TalonX and FinFX are on the same provider, same everything. So it's pretty easy to switch things over. So I need to find out what they'll do. I will push very hard to make sure that all the people that I sent to FinFX can get the best treatment and the best performance and be able to get transferred over. So I know they can do it because they're doing it for me. They're transferring all my open positions over to TalonX, kind of an as-is situation. So I'll make sure that people that I have sent to FinFX can get, the best treatment possible. I can't guarantee anything, but I'll do my best to make sure of that. Scott, the email I got said no action on our part. All accounts and trades will be moved automatically. Okay, that's good, Scott. And I'll just triple verify all of that information as well. Mike, the email said January 31st would make the changes to TalonX. Nothing to do on the traders end. Okay, that's good. Okay, so it sounds like they might just switch everything over. Do we have to close all our positions? Yeah, so I don't think we need to close positions, Bo. And again, I'll just double check on that. Prior to the switch, yeah, so I think we'll be good there. What bad experience with FXCM did you have? Performance, spread, fills, or platform? Dan, so just everything. The spreads were, fairly decent most of the time. Performance, fills, slippage, all of that stuff was horrible. So, whenever trying to get a stop loss hit or a profit target or getting in or out of the market during news, anything like that, I just had endless problems. I've always had endless problems with FXCM in that way. And I just will not put up with slippage. It's common to get a little bit of slippage during a news announcement. That's fine. I can handle that. But every time there's a news announcement, every time I need to get in, every time I need to get out, requote, it was just garbage. So I had too many issues with him. Yeah, and the requotes are horrible. And FXCM did barely survive this whole thing. They had to get a $300 million line of credit to refund people's accounts that went into the negative, which is something that's not supposed to be able to happen in Forex. Although FXCM looks like they might pull ahead as one of the potential buyers of Alpari UK's retail accounts. Alpari isn't going to, I don't think they're going to recover from this one, so they'll just be pieced apart and sold and so on. That's the update as far as I know it. FinFX did great, as did TalonX. I've talked to them during the Swiss franc move, and a couple other brokers did okay, and some other brokers did horrible. So, that's what I heard as well, Stephen. So things look pretty good. So we've got some good options. Everyone just kind of stay put, and you'll be receiving an email from me somewhere over the next 24 hours regarding any more transfer details and how to get all that stuff put together. So I will keep you all posted. Feel free to email me. I'll probably have another webinar tomorrow about the broker details just to make sure everything is covered. Okay, gotcha. FX Choice. Yeah, and I've heard of FX Choice. I've never used them before, but I'm definitely familiar with the name. Bo, no, it was just crazy timing. Just crazy timing. So this wasn't necessarily due to the Swiss franc. It was because the regulations hit, and then so I actually got the news before the Swiss franc. They kind of gave me a little bit of an early heads up, and I've been trying to get all the information before I talk to you guys about it. So it was actually before the Swiss franc move, and then Swiss franc just hit up and went crazy, and it kind of just all piled on. Last week was a bit of a stressful one, so definitely kind of crazy. And that's a good question, Adrian. How long will they work for us? TalonX is registered in. The clock could be ticking a little bit, which is why I've got a few other long-term solutions in the works. TalonX will be good for now, and it'll be good for the next, several months or year, 2 years, whatever, before regulations maybe finally get to them. But I've got a few things, and I'll tell you guys more about it as they get developed. But I've got a few solutions in the works for the next, to kind of fix our long-term situation. Dan, Oanda, I've had an account with Oanda, and they're okay, but again, U.S. clients, FIFO, hedging. Oanda, I had major issues with spreads for a good while. I haven't used them in the last year or so, so I don't know how they are with spreads anymore. But spreads during news announcements was kind of a big issue for me with Oanda. Yeah, no kidding, David. No kidding. Yeah, and you're welcome for the update, guys. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, Mel. They finally went kind of crazy there. So yeah, I love it, Adrian. Group by Alpari. I love it. So anyways, guys, yeah, that is for $5. I love it. So that's the update on everything. It's looking pretty good as far as what our immediate solution is going to be. I'm not super worried about any details. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be able to get all things broker worked out pretty easily, pretty quickly, and then I will have some great long-term solutions for us in this matter. Because I'm working on a couple of things. It'll be important that you guys that I find a good broker for everybody to go to, and that we find some good ways to work things, because I've got some really fantastic things in the works that I'll tell you guys about in the coming weeks. I'm not ready to divulge too much information yet, but there's some really excellent stuff in the works that I'm super excited about, that I've been spending a ton of time on over the last little bit. So really good stuff. Really good stuff in the works. So I will keep you guys posted on all that. Okay. Any more? Well, I'll tell you, Mel. Foreign corporations is not a bad. Is not a bad option at all, actually, because the U.S. is eventually just going to kick everybody out anyway because of all their crazy regulations and laws and rules, and so a foreign entity is not too hard. Including a lot of U.S. brokers have foreign branches, Forex.com, FXCM. I don't think MB Trading does, but they're not really stringent on opening accounts. If you want to open a Forex.com UK account, you can, if you can set up some utility bill in the UK, and they'll pretty much let you go with that. Not that I'm encouraging any of that, but they don't make it that hard, really. So yeah, definitely. You can definitely, absolutely. So I will keep you guys posted on that. There's one thing that I specialize in, and it's keeping the broker situation on lockdown and keeping it as favorable as possible for us as traders. So I will keep you guys updated, and I'll have all the answers that I need and can get in the next 24 hours or so. So I'll be up probably at 2 a.m. talking to FinFX and TalonX and all these other people, getting the final details. So yes, I am ready to talk about the CHF Swiss frankers. So yep, we got some Swiss franc pairs, some good stuff to talk about. This session is recorded, Eric. Yep, it's recorded for everybody. Okay, so we've got quite a bit of news this week. We'll just kind of take it a day at a time. The biggest news that we have is the ECB press conference. I'm pretty sure that's the biggest news because the ECB press conference is always a massive mover. We have UK retail sales. These are my two favorite announcements. Remember, for all group members, this is kind of an open Monday webinar that I invite everybody to. Then we have two levels of group members. Level 1, which is the standard level, includes every live session I do, you have access to the live trade room. And then we have kind of a level 2, which is the starter, which means you just get access to all the mobile trade alerts and recordings to all of our live sessions, but no access to live sessions. But now, all members, all paying members of the website will be invited to attend at least one and sometimes two live news announcements per week. And retail sales and the ECB press conference will probably be those two. Actually, I probably won't do retail sales because it's at 1:30 a.m. my time. So we'll probably just go with the ECB press conference, which is going to be a big deal. So we have lots of good news coming up. And I'm just doing nothing on the euro until that news hits. We've got a major oversold euro dollar, which needs to pull back just a little bit. And I'm doing nothing until the news. I can't, I'll watch it and I'll see what happens, but chances are I'm not getting any kind of major anything on the euro dollar before the news. However, here's some of the pairs I'm looking at. I'm pretty interested in pound dollar, dollar CAD, Aussie New Zealand, Aussie yen, and all the Swiss franc pairs. So let's look at the pound dollar for just a moment. Here is a quick look at what I am interested in doing here. We've had this run down and this kind of consolidation, and the pound dollar is not really overextended on the as far as the indicator goes on any time frame here. It's getting a little tiny bit there on the 4-hour chart, but we're only at 25%, nothing major. Daily charts at 64%, it's getting a little bit closer, but the max pips are 663 of a 1950 max pip. So there's kind of a lot going on as far as how much this could continue to drop. I am very much interested in shorting below 150.75 because that's kind of this little neckline. That's our double bottom weekly low of last week, 150.75. And it's kind of looking like a head and shoulders pattern. We got this little neckline, little shoulder dip right there, our head. If this gets below 150.75, you know, I'd look for an entry between probably 150.65 and 150.70. And just trade it down into the 150 and even potentially below 150 is looking good. Remember, the pound dollar has got a pretty good amount of possibility that it could head down into this, into this big triple bottom right here. It just so happens that this little head and shoulders right here, remember, from the top of the head to the neckline is just about 200 pips, 192 pips. Well, it just so happens that that's what we can kind of price project. 190, you know, about 200 pips. Well, if we go 200 pips below 150.75, where does that put us? Just pretty much at this low right here. That'll put us right at 148.75. But our double bottom here is around 148, you know, 25.30. So it's a really perfect opportunity to short this pound dollar below 150.75 and just take it down from there. So I am. I'm letting this move happen, hopefully, and we should be able to get a nice little entry and a nice little push down into that double triple bottom there. And Jim, in chat with FinFX, they wrote they let go of their U.S. customers. Yeah, so yeah, we just talked about that. Yeah, so definitely. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for on pound dollar. So watch for that little head and shoulders pattern. As far as dollar CAD goes, I just wanted to point out really quickly here, dollar CAD has got a very overextended 4-hour chart. And I think that somewhere below 11900 we could see a 1 to 200 pip move down. And that's about that's kind of about where we, you know, where we could fill this gap and kind of take out this 4-hour 200 moving average. So I don't really have a great entry on this one. We had a pending order last week and we sold the break of this and we grabbed what did we end up making on this? 85 or 90 pips, and then it pulled all the way back up, and here it is consolidating again. So I'm still looking for dollar CAD to pull back just a bit to give us an opportunity to, you know, to buy some dips. I still absolutely want to buy dips on dollar CAD, but I think I want to buy those dips down around 11700, give or take, somewhere in there. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there. And good Adrian, short from 120, very nice, and Bill, yeah, good. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for on dollar CAD. Okay, let's buzz over to Aussie New Zealand real quick. Aussie New Zealand, here's the one thing that I'm kind of interested and curious about. You can see it a lot better on a zoomed out 1-hour chart look right here. So we have this kind of ascending trend line right here, and the Aussie New Zealand is just really consolidating around 105. It's kind of consolidating between 104.50 and 105.50. It's got this big channel that it's been in for, you know, a week or so, and it's just kind of really stuck in there. It's kind of looking a little head and shoulders patterny to me as well, and so so I'm looking to see if this Aussie New Zealand is actually going to dip down a little bit more so that we can buy it possibly below 104.50. I think that's a possibility to buy the Aussie New Zealand below 104.50. So I'm looking at that, I'm aiming for that, and we'll see kind of how things go and where things go from there. And I think there's going to be some good opportunity on that. So So, we're keeping our eye on this Aussie New Zealand, but the one big thing to look at here is the fact, I forgot to draw a trend line on this thing, but I really kind of like this whole trend line setup. And this is where we have this big channel where the Aussie New Zealand for the last couple of months has been running down and down and down, and it broke out. So this is a big sign right here. It broke out of this trend line, it pulled back, and it tested that trend line, and then it has not dipped below the trend line, which is a pretty big deal. And so yes, we could be ending up with an inverted head and shoulders pattern, which I'm totally in favor of, because I think the Aussie New Zealand is heading straight up. It's just going to take it a little bit of time to get there. So as it clears this 23% fib, which is 105.77, if we can get an open above that, then that kind of opens it up to continue moving higher. But it's struggled. It's pushed up above the 23% fib, but it hasn't been able to open above the 23% fib. So we might get one more push lower, maybe even two more pushes lower, and then we can start buying this thing up higher. Now, if it doesn't give us a big retracement, then I still have no problem buying this thing, probably like around 10600. I'd feel pretty good about buying it around 10600, just to make sure we kind of get out of the crap, so to speak, and get up here through the 23% fib and through some of these areas. So we're going to buy likely above 10600, or we could buy down. Yeah, Adrian. Yeah. Buy down in the 10400s somewhere there. So, yep. Very, very good little setup. It's looking excellent. It's still going to be the biggest trade we take, maybe, because now we have the Swiss franc pairs to look at. So that's going to be a big deal. So that's where we are on Aussie New Zealand. One thing that I'm looking at here on Aussie yen is nothing more than simply a trend line. So this is the only reason I bring up Aussie yen, is because I don't like this pair. I don't trade this pair much, but we have a pretty nice little trend line right here that seems to be holding. We've got some missed pivots up there, and you can see that the 4-hour chart is entering some decent areas. There's not a lot of room to trade it higher and to get up into that before hitting the 200 moving average, but there's some nice missed pivots and so on up there. So I really like this Aussie yen for a break of the trend line and a move higher. I'm just keeping an eye on that. That one's pretty much in the back burner. Okay, let's look at the Swiss franc pairs. Obviously, dollar Swiss franc made this huge move down. If we look at the 4-hour chart, we can see that it's much more wild and crazy. We've left some untouched levels there. There's nothing too terribly exciting to see on any larger time frame. I've been combing through these charts and looking at these larger time frames and so on. Dollar Swiss franc, you know, it definitely made some contact with this guy back here. And wasn't really able to get too much below the lows of the last since you know the lows since 2012. So it hit this area and had a major bounce. It just dipped below, and it's going to get right back up above that basically 8700 area, and you can see we're sitting about 8790. So it's going to be above that. That's a pretty significant level. That's this year's lows, and that's the low of the last couple of years. What I think is going to happen on these pairs is I'm just reading as much as I can and trying to digest as much as I can, but something that just kind of seems to make sense is, number one, the Swiss franc, you know, was kind of like a caged animal, and it finally just had to break out, and the Swiss National Bank said, fine, just do your thing, Swiss franc, and it did, and it went crazy, and it strengthened a bunch, and it cleared out like any positions that it could have been on the Swiss franc in any direction, really. Sure, some people would have made some money on the long Swiss franc setup, but I think there's a bit of that, but there's also the fact that we can't forget that now, number one, the Swiss National Bank is talking about intervening, because the currency obviously went super strong, super quick, and that's going to hurt them super bad. So that's thing number one. The intervention is potentially coming. Thing number two is they cut interest rates. Now, the cutting of the interest rates itself can be a bit of a driver. But the fact that the Swiss National Bank said we're no longer going to intervene, we're just going to let the Swiss franc, you know, we're not putting a ceiling on it or a floor on it, we're just going to let it, you know, behave naturally. That was the big driver on the movement. But we have to keep in mind the background information, which is interest rates again went down in Switzerland. And for example, unlike the dollar Swiss franc, interest rates in the U.S. are headed up. So when we look at something like this, we've seen a huge move down. We've seen a huge move towards Swiss franc strength when it should, theoretically, once things kind of correct and clean up a little bit, we should see a big move back up. We should see a move in the direction of dollar strength for interest rate purposes, and we should see a move in the direction of Swiss franc weakness for the purpose of interest rates. That's something that we should see. Now, doesn't mean that we will, but that's what we're going to be watching for. We're going to be watching for the dollar Swiss franc and the pound Swiss franc to head right back up again. Now, we have to, and you're right, Adrian, and we do have to keep in mind that a lot of this will, there's going to be a big impact on Thursday with the ECB press conference. That's going to be a big deal. We're going to have to watch the heck out of that and be ready for whatever may be coming in that arena. But overall, I'm looking for an opportunity to buy dollar Swiss franc. I'm looking for an opportunity to buy pound Swiss franc, to buy euro Swiss franc, maybe. I don't know about, I'm probably going to stay away from euro Swiss franc. I never trade it. I never plan on trading it, but it's worth keeping an eye on. We'll see how things behave on that one with the coming news. But pound Swiss franc and dollar Swiss franc are going to be two major opportunities that we have to be ready to jump in on. So I'm super excited about those. And so that's going to be a trade that develops. I really don't plan on getting into anything until probably the ECB press conference as far as euro pairs go and as far as Swiss franc pairs go. So that'll be on Thursday. But we do have great opportunities on Aussie yen between now and then, Aussie New Zealand between now and then, and pound dollar between now and then. So we have some great trading opportunities coming up, but for the meantime, I think that we're going to kind of just keep an eye on what the Swiss franc does. I'm going to be reading and burying myself in material that talks, the actual real research that's going on there, and we'll get a good idea of where things are headed. But I'd like to buy dollar Swiss franc at some point in the very near future, and I'd like to buy pound Swiss franc at some point in the very near future. But I'm not going to jump in on it. I don't have a level yet. It's a developing trade, and it's something that I think is going to be a huge one for us, and I think we can make a big chunk of cash on it. So that's what we have coming up. But in the meantime, we have a couple of good pairs this week that should give us some really nice trades and some really nice movements. So I'm ready for that. So let's be ready for pound dollar, Aussie New Zealand, Aussie yen setups, and then we'll just kind of be watching and ready and waiting for dollar Swiss franc and pound Swiss franc, and we'll keep an eye on dollar CAD. If we see a bit of a correction on the dollar, watch dollar CAD and see if we can get a movement in there. So that is where I am going to have all my attention at this week, and more details will emerge on everything as the week continues on. So this would be a great time to definitely get a free trial to the trade group and watch what we do and how we trade things this week. And a couple to mention there for sure. Nice pullback was oversold. Oh yeah. The euro yen did make a nice little run back off those lows. It's definitely headed right back up into that 200 moving average and pivot. Everything's looking really, really good there. So that euro yen's actually turning out to be really nice, and the euro yen should give us some pretty fantastic trading opportunities as we get to the ECB news and so on. We're just right back into the 2014 lows on euro yen, so it could get interesting. We could see a rally on the euro pairs with the ECB news. And Bo, to answer your question about gold, I like gold, and I think gold's going to continue higher. I think that we have probably seen the lows on gold. It really struggled below that $1,200 mark, and it's really loving being above $1,200. So I think we've broken this major trend line right here that goes back a couple of years, and I think it's time to be buying dips on gold. So I'm going to be looking for that as a absolute possibility for our trading for sure. So right now we have just a little bit of kind of a bull flag in the works on gold. Nice little run up, consolidation. I think it'd be great to buy the break of that trend line for sure. So good little move on gold. Dollar yen. I've been watching dollar yen. I don't have too much to say on dollar yen at the moment. I do think that it will be worth probably buying at some point. But yeah, I don't really have anything that I'm super excited about on dollar yener. But I'll keep you guys posted on that. I'll keep you in the loop. I'll keep you all in the loop. So okay, thank you guys. Thanks for listening to all the details and the rantings and so on. And keep you updated there. New member, where do I find your trades during the week? Good question, Joe. And let me just show you guys real quick here. For all new members, you can find the trades are always posted in the chat here, and they're also posted again for new members. If you go to daytradersfx.com, you can go to login or blog, whichever one. I'm already logged in. So if you go to members home right here, you'll see trades, and here is where I record and post every live daily session that we do. You can log into the chat. There's some tutorial videos there as well. But trades, chat login, and live daily sessions are right in this members home area. And you just have to be logged into the website to be able to access that. So yes. And Bo, to answer your question on Euro Aussie, I've been watching this one as well, and I don't know what I want to do with the Euro Aussie. I think it's a little bit of a battle. Both currencies seem to be a little bit on the weak side, but it, again, anything Euro, I'm going to wait until the ECB press conference happens. I probably won't touch anything Euro until the ECB press conference, until we get a good eye on that one. So, good question. And Adrian, yes, we're going to be looking to trade towards some of the 200 moving averages on Swiss franc pairs. Absolutely. Yep, okay, good stuff, guys. Lots of details coming this week. There's so much to talk about. We're going to have lots of live sessions, and we're going to have a couple of news sessions as well. It should be super exciting. So let's be ready for it. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. This recording will be sent out to everyone shortly. And thanks again, guys. I'll have all the details updated and posted for all to see. So thanks, everyone.